Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Breaking news this evening from Ben Jacobs. Benjamin Sesko has made it clear this evening that he wants to join Manchester United. He says Newcastle have today offered improved terms and their bid to Leipzig remains the stronger of the two, but there is now a growing sense of confidence within Manchester United that Sesko will join if the clubs can reach a deal. United now focused on reaching that full agreement with RB Leipzig, but Benjamin Jacob here stating that this evening Benjamin Sesko made it clear that he wants to become a Manchester United player. Hit them like buttons. Make sure you are subscribing. This is the Done Deal Show. Let's do it. A very late night stream tonight with breaking news. People have been on tenterhooks for the past 48 hours or so with Newcastle's two bids, the improved offer that came in last night. Manchester United making their formal bid in the early afternoon. Fabrizio this evening posting that Manchester United he went on to say that Manchester United's feeling from earlier today is even stronger tonight. The club believes Benjamin Sesko only wants to join them. That tweet has been retweeted. That has been pinned. And typically when Fabrizio does that, a deal is closing in towards an announcement, a here we go from him. But the big breaking update from Ben Jacobs is that the player tonight, as we'll show you on the screen again, the player has made it clear this evening that he wants to join Manchester United. That is the claim from Ben Jacobs. And I'm making sure I'm getting the name right here. And Alex Crook from Talk Sport. That is the big claim this evening. Thoughts, feelings, opinions on that. I was just about to go to bed. I was just about to go and lay my head down for the night. A little bit of an early night for me. But there's something I thought I need to stay up for it. It was the retweet from Fabrizio, amongst other things. But as ever, look, I want your thoughts. I want your feelings. I want your opinions on this. It has been a crazy night. It's been a crazy night for content. I've watched about 3 or 4, not the whole streams, but 3 or 4 bits from Newcastle fans. Some crazy claims tonight from them. One I actually heard tonight is a Newcastle fan claiming that the player doesn't want Manchester United. Leipzig are forcing him to join Manchester United. So all sorts of interesting conversations currently going on in the Newcastle and Manchester United fan bases. But Fabrizio's pinned tweet, the retweet, United's feeling getting stronger, the big claim from Ben Jacobs. What do you think? What do you feel? We all know that earlier on today, the financial terms were agreed on both sides. So, of course, that includes Manchester United. Many people think the Ornstein bomber is coming. The here we go is coming. And this would represent a relatively quick deal for Manchester United. Once they decided that Sesko was the priority, that was, I think, only 6 days ago. To get it to this point is pretty quick going indeed. But as ever, look, I want your thoughts. I want your opinions. I want to know what you think and feel in relation to this. Of course, get that like button smashed for us. I know it's the early hours of the morning here in the UK. Some of you, though, this might be the best time to stream, depending on where you are around the world. But big breaking news indeed. This is here. He hasn't said anything really, though, has he? Ben Jacobs said Man United are confident. Well, what he said, and we can put it up here on the screen for you, is that Ben Sesko has made it clear this evening he wants to join Manchester United. The growing sense of confidence Man United have is that Sesko will join if they can reach an agreement between the two clubs. The one thing that hasn't been confirmed, and we haven't made any claims to this, is that the fee with Leipzig has been accepted. What Ben Jacobs has said is that Sesko has agreed to join Manchester United. That is what we're talking about tonight. That is the agreement. That is why the thumbnail says terms agreed as opposed to deal agreed, because there's a fundamental difference in that. Let's be honest, since the United bid There have been F all news on the Newcastle side. He is going to Man United, is what Abs says here. Sign the contract first, then I'll comment, is what Rodders has got to say. Terry, today is my mum's birthday. I'm not going to read the name because I've already had that one done to me before. Let's get it done. We'll have a lethal front three this season with Sesko, Cunha, and Mbumo. Add in Ahmad, Dorgu, Bruno, Kobe, and a solid back three. Just need a keeper now. Look, I think Man United still, I'd like us to go and get a midfielder. Hackney is the player that I really rate and I really like right now. Go and add a little bit more to this team in relation to the midfield. Add that goalkeeper in. And I think United could have a much improved season on last year. I think the fans will be more entertained. I think we'll score more goals. And I felt that for a long while now. Makes Paul's bid for Isak harder. Sort of. Newcastle are just going to pivot to another striker. I don't really think this impacts the situation with Isak in the I'm talking over the course of this transfer window. In the long term, over this transfer window, I still think Isak leaves. So that wouldn't be too big a concern to me. United reaching PSR cap and now having to sell, but no one mentions it. Shows how good Ineos manages all YouTube pundits by giving them access to the preseason tour. Well, look, let's be honest about this. We have raised additional money by sell-on clauses. There could be an element of risk in this that we're buying before we've sold because we're going to miss out on a really good target. We also know that Manchester United consistently plead poverty and end up spending more than they already have. There was massive cuts made. The one bit of misinformation I am seeing is people say, how can they afford players when they had to make cuts? The reason the cuts were made at Manchester United is so we could buy players. As much as it isn't nice for people to lose their jobs and it isn't nice, the football club is a football club first. So it has to be able to operate as a football club. And I saw some Newcastle fans ranting and crying tonight saying that why would anyone join this club? It's fallen. And at the same time saying United shouldn't even sign any new players because it's they're broken. But equally saying maybe in the future when they're back, players should join them. And, you sit there and think, well, how are you ever going to get back if nobody joins you? It's moronic. And at the end of the day, the PSR elements, the reason why Man United are okay compared to some of the smaller clubs is we have debt and yes, we have a lot of expenditure, but we earn a lot of money. We are one of the biggest sporting institutions in the world. So the people have forgotten this and it's crazy. People also don't read the financial reports. People don't actually understand the financial reports and they end up not knowing what they're talking about at all. They just chat a load of old. The fact is, most people that go, what about PSR? Are the same people that think net spend is real. And that's all you've got to remind yourself of. When someone thinks net spend is a real measure, just remember, toaster person. Newcastle have been having an absolute nightmare this summer. You're spot on. I mean, Newcastle's summer has been pound for pound, maybe the worst I've ever seen in the Premier League. Pound for pound. Because they're a Champions League side. They've got the richest owners in the world. They have money to spend. I saw Newcastle fans on Twitter today going, oh my God, look at the highest spenders in the league. Of course, it'd be the top six and the sort of the cartel clubs. And I laughed a little bit because if Newcastle hadn't been rejected by Cunha and Mbumo and by Ekitike, they would have spent more than Man United. They'd have spent they spent 56 million already. If they'd have got Mbumo, that would be 110. If they got Cunha, that would be 180. And if they got Ekitike, they'd be well over the 200 million mark. The only reason that Newcastle haven't spent more than a lot of those clubs is because the players rejected them. It wasn't for a lack of trying. Hi, Terry. Hope you're well. This may be good for Rasmus having competition, may bring out the best in him if he stays. Personally, I think he'll go on, and we have to look at the reports that have come out on a consistent basis in relation to Rasmus this summer. There've been a few saying he might stay. There's been lots saying he wants to stay. But the resounding thought from the likes of Laurie Whitwell, close to the club, I think Ornstein also said this in one of his articles, very likely the player leaves this summer. Ginger Bish says, Premier Inn Hotel, now sponsored by Newcastle United. Turn down service included a standard leave the football before the football leaves you, Newcastle. Happy, but still hope for a goalkeeper and midfielder. I completely agree with you. Again, in isolation to this deal, I'm happy, but I'm in the same ballpark as you. I want more, as spoiled as that would sound at this point. Maybe selling the bomb squad, we go for a midfielder and goalkeeper. Yeah, look, that's likely to happen. I know a lot of people are complaining about those players having not gone yet. My outlook's very different. Excuse me, very late, and I should have gone to bed already. My apologies. What Manchester United have been offered by the players are all basically aligning themselves to one club. They all want one club each. Maybe Sancho's open to a few others, but the offers so far from clubs for those players have been abysmal. They've been dreadful. And Man United, I think, lose face. I think United would be rolling over, and I'll use that expression again, and having their bellies rubbed by those said teams. We'd lose money on most of those deals or not make enough profit. And I think in the medium to long term, that damages us more than holding on. I'd love for them to have gone. You can argue we're bad at negotiating. That could be one of the reasons. I think one of the reasons that we haven't done it is we don't have the authority yet. We haven't marked ourselves as an authoritative figure in the transfer window. That being said, fingers crossed we get this done now. Pulling off this hat-trick against Newcastle is a way to go to sort of assert your authority in that way. But I'm sure we will get rid of some of these players in the next sort of 25 days or so. I'm sure some will leave. I would have rather it be sooner. I've said that on record, but I hear you. Newcastle this window feel like United in 2013. Yeah, very, very similar. Very similar. Terry, I give it to Newcastle. They tried, but they look desperate and need to walk away now. Yeah, look, generally when you bid without the player's agreement, you run a massive risk of embarrassment. You run a massive risk of coming out and looking silly. And it's always been that way, if I'm honest with you. It's always been that way. You always run that risk. And that's kind of happened to Newcastle here, which is unfortunate. I don't have any personal issues with Newcastle. I mean, some of their fans, what they're saying about my football club tonight online, I think is some of it's not even an exaggeration. Considering who used to own their club, the way they're talking about another club that's had bad owners for a long time, I just find it really uncouth and wet and bitter. But I get it. I don't actually know if their bitterness is with Man United. I think it's with their own club. But it's a lot easier to deflect and have a go at somebody else as opposed to sort of owning that situation yourself, I think. And I think when they calm down, it will be an inquest internally. Did you see Garnacho's story of him in his Man United shirt? Do you think he has had a change of heart? I don't think it matters if he's had a change of heart. I don't think Ruben Amorim has. And I don't think Man United Football Club have. And look, if he ends up staying because nobody wants to buy him, then he's our player and we'll have to manage that situation. But I wouldn't read too much into it. I'm not going to read too much into it at all. I'm just going to carry on as normal. Let's get it done. Working hard whilst Coleridge is asleep. Listen, he'll probably be up in a minute streaming with this news. If he's probably had messages sent through a wake up. I literally was about to go to bed. I've watched the film. I set up my new chair I bought a new chair to sit on. I needed one that was better for my back, and I set that up. I had a film on. I'm going to go to bed, and then I saw the Jacobs update and thought I've got to go see the community, man. I've got to go and talk to the community now. Terry lad, you're looking swole. Oh, Jesus, no, I'm not. No, I've got a bit of a cold. That's it, my friend. Must admit, I'm baffled. Newcastle haven't got more players in. We always assume that being in the Champions League is going to win players over, but this is a mystery. The problem is words are very important when you're talking football. I truly believe that. What we do is it's true that if Man United and Arsenal are fighting out for a player and one of us has Champions League over the other, it helps. If Man United have it and Newcastle and Arsenal don't, I think United nearly always get the player. Excuse me again. I'm so sorry. I didn't know the yawn on the stream. I apologize. United would often get the player, not always, but often. Arsenal have landed players like Gyökeres ahead of us this summer, as you've seen. I think it can be a difference maker when the biggest clubs are going for players. But when a club the size of a Newcastle, the size of the modern day size of a Forest, the modern day size of an Aston Villa, I don't think it makes that big a difference. The legacy clubs have an aura about them, have an attraction, and have a pull that I don't think disappears after a terrible season. I don't think disappears after not challenging for a league title for 10 years. When we've been in and around the conversations in the sense of we've been in the Champions League. We've had great nights in the Champions League. We've won European trophies, been to European finals. We've won FA Cups, League Cups. You're not just going to dissipate in that way, disappear and become an irrelevance. If we were to get relegated and spend a quarter of a century out of the top flight, that would have a mark. Yeah. Oh, looking hench. Sorry. I've been in the gym, but yeah, I'm a bit ill. That's it. I've just been to the gym, trying to get strong. I'm not even trying to get in shape as in like ripped. I'm just doing a lot of strength work. That's all I'm really working on, really. Terry, do you think we will get a midfielder and goalkeeper before the window ends? I think United will do that. I think United will go and get it done. I have no idea who we're going to go after. We've all got an opinion on who we like. We've all got an opinion on what we would like to see happen. But I don't know who we're going to go for. Genuinely don't know who we're going to go for. Don't know at all. I hope it's Hackney. A front three of Cunha, Sesko, and Mbumo sounds good. That's from Ronnie Dodge. Ronnie Dodge, on paper, it is a very, very good front three indeed. On paper. And again, like all summer transfer windows, it is all on paper. It's all on paper, but it is very good. There is goals, there's hold-up play, there's creativity, I heard someone earlier on today that Benjamin Sesko lacks strength and physicality. I just laughed. Like, you haven't watched him play. He's very quick. He's strong. He's ridiculous in the air. He scores a goal in his entire career. I think he scores 0.22. He scores 0.22 goals per shot. So essentially, one goal in every 5 shots that he has in his career. But in the last 2 years, he's scoring at a rate of 26%. He just needs more chances to be created for him. And I think he'll get opportunities with the way we're going to play this year. And I think we've seen that in pre-season, where there's been some really good openings and opportunities. And I think he'll capitalize. We've got players that want to put the ball into the box. We just haven't had people that have been particularly good in the air for a couple of years, and he gives us that. So I'm really excited about it. And listen, there's going to be a betting in period. What I am really excited about is that opening game of the season, because I'm glad we're moving quickly with this deal. And I really hope there's a here we go and a total agreement tomorrow so we can get a medical done sort of Thursday, Friday. He probably won't be in time for the friendly. But what we could have is him having a full week's training with the team, meaning he'll be available most likely for the squad for the game against Arsenal. Because we're going to come out of that with anything. We're going to need a player of his quality, and what a game, and what a game. The number one target for Arsenal playing for Man United, and the number one target for Man United, striker-wise, at the beginning of this window, playing for Arsenal. Who'd have thought that? If you'd have asked people at the end of May, where's Sesko going to be? Where's Gyökeres going to be? I think most people would have had it reversed. And it could end up being this way around. If Nico Jackson gets as many starts as Sesko, he will easily put up better numbers than Sesko. Yeah, maybe he will. Maybe he will. Mustafa says, here we go this week, hopefully. I'd be surprised if it doesn't come tomorrow. Maybe not the here we go. Maybe we'll get the Newcastle pulled out. He only wants Man United update. I hope it's a here we go, though. I hope it's a total agreement with all parties. I hope this is what it is hope, because I'm hoping it's more about Leipzig. I hope that the player has agreed with us, and Ben's right. And I hope that Newcastle will say thank you all, and we're stepping away, and Leipzig go, yep, your bid's fine, bang. If everything could just move that quickly from here, that would be perfect for Man United. One, because I think we could get Sesko into that matchday squad for the opening game of the season. Secondly, and maybe more importantly, we can straight away pivot towards the midfielder and the goalkeeper, which is key. rather than having to stay focused on this. Let's have a look at some more of your comments here. You didn't develop Heaven. He came ready to go from Arsenal. Stop chatting shit. Well, this is what's crazy, though. He has been developed. Has he come in already good because he's been developed well from his academy? Yes. Arsenal did a very good job of that. But he's been developed over the last 6 months. How far do you take that? Are you going to say no matter how good he becomes at Man United, United are never going to get any credit for it? What about academy players that only do their last year or 2 years at academy level at your club, but spent 6 years at another academy? Who gets the credit? Come on now. Let's not be disingenuous here. Let's not be disingenuous. John James here says the point for United is that there will be goals from numerous players, not just the striker, but a competent striker helps kill off games we drew in the past. Absolutely. And something I'm hoping for. Listen, is Sesko perfect? No. Are there better strikers in the world than him? Yes. Could he become one of the best strikers in the world? He has the ability to do it. What I will say is this. Sesko, Mbeumo, and Cunha all have the ability to score goals from nothing. Or to coin the modern day phrase, they can score their own goals. They can create their own goals. I can't play the compilations, unfortunately, because we get shut down for copyright. But you've seen the goals. And all three of them score 4, 5, 6 a season in the league each. That's also a game changer. Because right now, if we're being honest, Ahmad does it every now and then. Bruno can do it from distance. Outside of that, who can do it? Genuinely in this team, who can have the ball in a fairly innocuous place, drop a shoulder, beat a man, and then hit a thunderbolt into the goal? We don't have very many players. We've gone and bought 3. I totally understand what people say about needing to improve the midfield. They're not even wrong in that. And that isn't what I'm stating. But I really do think adding goals and creativity and pace and speed in that attack, considering that we need to fix every area of the pitch, I get why we did it first. I really do. Sean H here said, this is fantastic news. Yeah. And I hope, and I hope that it's true. And I hope that Ben Jacobs has got this right. He's had a very good summer. I think Ben has, in terms of, again, he was the first person to really mention Sesko to United. He kept on saying, just keep an eye out for it. Did the same thing with Mbeumo. He kept on saying, listen, guys, I know that United aren't the favourites right now, but look at Mbeumo to United. Keep an eye on it. And let's see. He could have pulled out another Jacobs cracker here. Great to see you live. Big ups from Winnipeg. I hope United get Sesko. Sorry, I'm going to go back to that comment now. I hope United get Sesko because the league is much more entertaining with them competing. Come on, you goodness. Thank you very much, Ian. And look, I agree with you in that extent. If I just remove myself for a moment as a Manchester United fan, a stronger Manchester United makes the Premier League better. The same as a strong Arsenal, the same as a strong Chelsea, the same as a strong Liverpool. And we haven't had a season where the 4 biggest teams in England, the old top 4 from a decade or plus ago, where I don't remember the last time all 4 of us were pretty good at the same time. I can't remember that. There's always one of us that's kind of in the mud, or 2 of us, or 3 of us sometimes. And I just think from a fan perspective, it would just be an amazing season for all of us to be semi at the races. Wouldn't it be amazing to go into games and go, I think Arsenal are favourites, or United are favourites, or Chelsea are favourites, or Liverpool are favourites? Liverpool probably are in most games, but I can see the other team winning. We had too many games between the big sides and City and Spurs as well. Too many games where you've gone into it going, United will win this. Arsenal's, Liverpool win this easy. City winning, no problem. And I want to see that those bridges gapped. I want to see those massive contrasts shrunk. I really do. This here from Neil, he says, get me Donnarumma and we are winning the lot. Listen, I wouldn't undermine the Donnarumma situation. I really wouldn't. I know that we haven't got Champions League football, but PSG are basically saying, look, we'd really like to sell you if you don't want to sign a new deal. It looks like he's not going to sign a new deal. My only concern is his motivations. Is it money? Does he really want to be a Man United player? But I'd like him in terms of ability. I'd love him. Winning games 4-2 and 2-1 means less pressure on the goalkeeper and defense. Outscoring teams is the way forward. Yeah, Mr. B, in the short term, I agree. And this is the thing, right? I'm trying to look ahead as opposed to thinking about the here and now. I understand why people want to control games. Because in the moment, in the games, you feel less pressure. Even when we were at LVG and were crap and we were barely winning, I never felt pressured in games because we always had the ball. I felt quite calm. We're going for an approach to try and win more games. The approach of having the ball but not winning would still lead to mass outrage. We've got to win more games. Then I think the next stage of this rebuild will be let's gain more control, more pace, more quality in those midfield areas. That's just my thought. And again, I keep saying this to the people wanting the midfielders before the attackers. I'm not saying you're wrong to want them. I just see it a different way in terms of order. I never wanted him, to be fair, but he's a good signing for Man United. But I think your midfield and defense and goalkeeper are the problem. Well, this is the thing, though. No, the biggest problem last year was not scoring enough goals. We had more of the ball than all but 5 other teams in the Premier League, and even the ones that had more of the ball than us, it was between sort of 2 and 7% in totality. So most teams we have the ball against, we didn't score enough goals. I think we only scored about 5 or 6 goals less in the Europa League in 20 odd less games, right? We didn't score enough goals. Every area is a problem for us. That isn't a lie. That is the truth. But we were never fixing all of them in one summer. And the strategy was going to be this: fix one whole department, or attempt to fix one whole department. And that could have been any one of them: defense and goalkeeper, midfield, or attack. Or it could have been add one player into each area. None of those approaches would fix us. Because if we did go and spend all our money on the midfield this year, ain't got enough up front. If we bought a goalie, a centre-back, a midfielder, a striker, and a 10, people would say, yeah, good, added a nice spine there, but what happens if there's an injury up front? It's only one midfielder. What about if this happens? Yep, you've bought the defender, but what if there's an injury? There was no solution. There was no approach this summer that would have, 1, appeased everybody, and 2, solved all their problems. So it isn't even about, I like the fact we've gone for the strikers first because I think it'll be more entertaining over the course of the season. But we've got to live in the real world here. We have to. Champions League football at Newcastle comes with a stronger than average chance of being embarrassed in the Champions League, like United's run in the Champions League. We all wanted Watkins to get more time in the England team. Not sure why he isn't a target. I think the reason that he's not a target is because clubs will still weigh up what's going to happen in the here and now and what will come in the future. And you're talking at the moment, there's only a £5 million differential in Man United's bid of £65 million and what Villa want for Watkins. And I think when there's that smaller differential for a player that has no sell-on value, a player that's at his peak, I understand why we're making this decision. Now, it may end up being wrong. He may end up flopping. He may end up being a bad signing. I hope it isn't, because we've needed the only real number 9 we've signed who was, for me, of the right level. Like Martial was very good, but played most of his time on the left. Cavani had moments. It was Zlatan, and that was the better part of 10 years ago. We need a striker to come in. I don't expect 27 goals year 1 from the new guy, from Sesko, if he indeed joins. But we need someone to come in and we go, oh, that was really good, 10 to 15 league goals, maybe 20 in all comps, and we go, saw a player in there. They're following year better. United really do need another striking hero. We need one. It's as simple and it's as straightforward as that. Fab Bomb, what's Fab said? Or are you just writing that, Jamie? Are you just writing it? You're just writing it and you're teasing us. You're teasing us, mate. You're teasing us. Terry, Newcastle fans and club itself are being shown that having trillions owners means nothing when it comes to top teams in the Big Six and the league. Traditional top 6 clubs. Shirt ways is real. Yeah, I also think people have been deluded this year. They've been sort of indoctrinated and deluded into thinking that Man United were over and finished. And I think that's also shocked people. A bit like, you know, the killer at the end of a horror film. Everyone thinks they're dead. They would come back for one final act. You know, it's a little bit like that. You know, United weren't dead like people made out. Man United is the team for Benjamin Sesko. Yeah, I like it. Smith here said you got conned. If you say so, mate. If you say so. Oh, he just said on his team, Sesko wants to play for United. He wants to wear the United shirt. This is Manchester United's feeling. Yeah, he hasn't quite gone in the same way that Ben Jacobs has. So we'll see. I'm really intrigued to see that. I'm really, really intrigued to see what happens in relation to that. By the way, people, if you haven't done so yet, please get that like button smashed. Make sure you are subscribing. Make sure you've got that bell notification button turned on as well. Very, very important to the channel that you get that done. It truly, truly is. So a big thank you to everybody that has done it so far. Let's do some more of your comments here. Man City and Spurs weren't considered big six for a decade and a half. Yeah, no, you're right. It used to be the top six, and it became that. True, Man United have more pull than I thought. Then I thought they do. Yeah, look, and some will say that's just the money you're going to pay. End of the day, you've got to pay the going rate. People were making up this bullshit that we were paying Mbumo 250, 260, 280. I read somewhere. Turns out it's 150. So we're not even paying exorbitant wages for these players either. So, yeah, people just chat a load of old nonsense. I'll be keeping my powder dry for now. If he signs and if he can play against Arsenal first game, then I'll be more responsive. Do you know what, John? Like, I'm reporting the news here. I'm also not sitting here and bantering anyone. I'm keeping my powder dry. I'm keeping my powder dry as well. Why not? Why is it Jacob's cracker and not Ben's banger? Do you know what a Jacobs? Because the Jacobs cracker is also something. It's like a play on words. Like you get the cheese crackers. They're called Jacobs crackers. It kind of just works. I think that just works for that reason. And we've gone with it now. We've gone with it now. We've gone with it now. Who's Sully Talks? Who wrote that? I don't get it. Oh, Soul Talks coming in. Souls and Gunner Souls coming in clutch. Newcastle United will keep Isak's new wages for a year and then exit. Maybe. We'll see. I'm not convinced by that. I still think he'll go. I still personally think he'll go. But that's just my humble opinion. No, John, I know it wasn't at me. I'm just saying I'm just saying I agree with you. Why am I streaming so late? Sorry, Motti. I should have phoned and asked your permission. Because of the breaking news, and I was up, and I thought it's only going to be a short stream. It's not going to be a long one, just a short one tonight. Oh, check out. Oh, Sully Talks, right? Yeah. Okay, so what's Sully Talks saying? What is Sully saying? I was actually DMing him the other day. Actually, we were talking. What's Sully Talks saying? Why can't I find him? Where you at, Sully? OPM blocked me. Why can't I find him? I was actually talking to him the other day. I can't find him. What's he at, KJ? No, I know he's reliable, but I'm searching his name, and it's YouTube does this sometimes. X does it sometimes. You can't find people. Somebody write he's in the chat for me. I found it. Yeah, we follow each other, and we have DM'd each other. Yeah, only recently. I just couldn't find him. It was weird. Got him. So he has said in the last minutes that Man United closing in on signing Benjamin Sesko after being given the green light. Personal terms are no issue. Financial side done. Club working with Leipzig to reach an agreement on the fee. Internally feel that Newcastle are now out of the race. Now that is a big claim indeed. Big claim. Massive claim. There we go. What does he say? Isak will leave still, and I think Newcastle know it, and they are looking desperately for replacements. It may end up making the Watkins deal more expensive now as well because of how much they've bid. That was what I was also worried about. If we ended up missing, sorry, my neck. If we ended up missing out on Sesko after making a 65 million bid, you've shown your hand financially. So you're kind of in that situation. RB have not accepted yet. Well, look, Man United have bid the base asking price. So we'll see what happens. I've always felt the whole time, I've felt that this is all about this is all about the player deciding. Terry is nervous. Sesko will flop deep down. Of course, I'm a little nervous. Yeah, of course, I'm a little nervous. My club's been an abomination. So there's a nervousness there. It's one of the reasons why I think the Arsenal fan base is so volatile when they're playing well and don't go over the line, because they remember what that period was like when they weren't challenging and they were awful, and it's that fear of going back to it, you know. And of course, I'd hate this to go wrong, because and by the way, it's not about me being right or wrong. I don't care I don't care on a personal level whether I think this rebuild works or not. I want the rebuild to work so my club becomes better. And of course, I care about football. I care about my team being better on a footballing level because I want my team to play good football. That all being said, I work in football. I talk about football. I tweet about football. I make podcasts about football. My team hasn't been consistently good the whole time I've done this, and I've been doing it since 2013. The Football Terrace didn't exist then, but I've been doing this since 2013. It's just 12 years of me being online talking football. When I first started doing work for the Full-Time Devils, when it first begun, one of the first contributors they ever had. And in fairness, we did bits of content in the third season we won the league. So it actually started in the 2012-2013 season where we won the league. But YouTube was such a small thing for football back then. Since it's sort of blown up, the social media era, we've been bad. So I want my team to be good for my club and my own personal enjoyment. But it'd be nice to have a team that I could actually, it'd be nice to sit on some shows and talk about Man United where they get an element of respect from rivals because people know we're good. Of course I want that. Of course I want that. Josh here, hope you're well, brother, says this transfer may reshape the Newcastle project if they can't bring in top players to their club and cannot stop their best players from wanting to leave. It's a black hole of an issue. Yeah, listen, I hear you. You know, what they've got to keep doing is increasing those revenues. They've got to just keep plugging away. And it's a long, slow grind to get to that level of income. It really is. Really, really is. Terry, can I ask you, do you think Isak has a way back? I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. I think I think it's done. I don't think there's any way back for him. I did read a report tonight. It's from Liverpool sources that he is going to tell Newcastle formally this week and formally put in a transfer request. I just don't think there's a way back. Just my personal opinion. Just my humble opinion. Could always be wrong, but we will see. Listen, I want to thank every single person who has tuned in tonight. Where are you all watching from as well? Let me know. Where are you all watching from? I'd love to know where you've been at, what you've been doing, where you're watching from as well. It's always nice to see. We are going to be back in the morning at about 10:45 as ever. So we'll be live then. I should have Cow on with me actually from should have Cow on from Coppish TV as well, which will be great to have him back here with us. So you're watching from look at that, Malaysia, Australia, Slovenia. Love that, man. Love that. Love so many people tuning in from all different parts of the world. But listen, this is going to redirect you to tomorrow morning's show. So go there now. We might even have a Here We Go by then. Who knows? Could be a massive, massive morning indeed. Listen, people, look after yourselves, okay? Be safe, be lucky. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again very soon. Peace.